Fishermen think they've found a seal floating on an iceberg until they get closer and realize to their horror what's really right in front of their eyes. In the middle of the Newfoundland Ocean, Mallory, the intrepid captain with a decade of fishing behind her, scanned the horizon. That morning, the salty air tasted different. Her boat, the Nordic Pearl with its nets ready, sailed over the capricious waves in search of the day's big catch. Every day at sea was a new challenge for Mallory and her crew. The Nordic Pearl had seen many storms, but today's clouds looked more threatening than ever. As the crew prepared the nets, Mallory noticed an unusual shape in the distance, an iceberg running through her rates. But what was on it seemed strange. Perhaps a stray seal, she thought, though something titillated her. Despite the worsening weather conditions, her curiosity drove her closer. Every wave seemed to want to push them back, but Mallory was determined. "It looks like a seal!" shouted one of the crew. But as they drew closer, the atmosphere on the boat changed. Faces paled and the anxious murmur grew. It was definitely not a seal. Mallory's boat drew closer. The image became clearer and clearer. An Arctic fox, all disheveled, terrified of the seagulls swirling around him. Every screech of the birds made him duck his head, clearly showing his vulnerability. "Get ready to rescue that fox," ordered Mallory. Wasting no time, his crew slipped a small canoe into the sea. Despite the waves and the wind lashing their faces, they pushed on, determined. When they reached the foot of the iceberg, they realized that the fox was trapped in a hollow, with no possibility of escape. Mallory, with all the gentleness in the world, reached out and took the trembling ball of fur in her arms. Barely back on board, the fox, now safe from the seagulls, began to regain a semblance of calm. Mallory knew she had just experienced a unique moment. It wasn't every day that a fox lost at sea was rescued. The return to port was full of emotion. Mallory had not only brought back fish, but also an extraordinary story to tell. And somewhere on the coast, a little Arctic fox could now start a new life.